All right, so now we're finally going to get started on joining tables. So what a join does is it's going to retrieve data from more than one table based on some kind of relationship in the tables. And the best way for me to explain this is to just show you. All right, so in our bike store database, we have a bunch of tables. In the production schema, we have production.products and production.categories. So every product has a category. So I'm gonna select the data from that table. Select star from production.products. All right, so if I run this, I'm getting every product, and every product has a category ID. But I don't know what this ID means unless I retrieve the data from the category table, right? So I'm going to say production.categories. So when I select the data from here, I can see that there are 7 different categories and they each have a name. So what if I wanted the data from this table, but instead of getting category ID, what if I wrote a query that gave me the name instead of the ID? And that's pretty easy to do with a join. And we're going to start with an inner join. So how that works is I'm going to say select star. Actually, all right, we're going to select from production.products. Production.products. And right now we're selecting product name, list price, and product, what is the name of that in here? Category name. From production.products. And you can see that it's telling me I'm doing something wrong here because there's no category name in this table. So it's not going to understand until I join the categories table with production.products. So how I'm going to do that is say we're doing an inner join. So inner join production.categories, and then use the on keyword. So after on, this is where you give one column from each table that basically correlate with each other. They have a relationship. So I'm wanting category ID on this table to be the same as category ID on this table. So how we're going to do that is we're going to say on production.products category ID is equal to production.categories category ID. And hopefully this works. And there you go. So now I'm getting the product name, and instead of just a number, I'm getting the actual category name with each product. So, and we're doing an inner join here, which basically means that we're only getting data that matches between these two tables. So, let's say there was a category ID with the ID number 8. So real quick on this query, I'm going to say order by category ID. So when we're just looking at this table, we can see that category ID, we have 1 through 7. So let's say that there was a category with the ID number 8, but there's no product that correlates to the 8th category, so it would not retrieve the 8th category name from this table. And likewise, let's say that we had a product and it had a category ID that did not match something in this table, the inner join would not retrieve that record. So inner join basically just means we only want things that match between both tables. All right, so real quick, I just want to explain how we can make this look a little bit better, because this is just like a long line and kind of hard to read. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just break this to the next line, and it's still going to run the same. That's how SQL handles white space. You can break things up as much as you want. You can probably even have a whole line of white space and it would still work the same. But I'm not going to do it like that because that's weird. All right, so the first thing is you don't have to say inner join. You can just say join, and that means the same thing. So if you prefer to just write join, that's fine. I actually like writing the word inner just because I don't want there to be any sort of ambiguity or misunderstanding. I just like to specify that, but that's really just my personal preference. So you can do that either way you want. Now, the thing that we can do that will really clean this up is using aliases. So before we were giving alias to column names, but you can actually give an entire table an alias. So the way that you do that is we're joining, we'll start with the from. So production.products is a table. So we're going to name this table P. All right. And now it's giving me an error because as far as it's concerned within this query, this needs to be P. Production.products, we just named it P. So now we can say just P.category ID. And we can name, so we named production.products, but we also have production.categories. And so we can give this a name also. So I'm going to name it C. And so now it's going to give me an error again because it's saying production.categories. We've renamed it. So now its name is C. C.category ID. So now this is just, in my opinion, a lot easier to read. It's less verbose. It's just, you're going to be able to write stuff quicker because you might get to a point where you're doing a lot of joins on one query and you don't want to be typing out schema names and table names just over and over. So if you just give it a name like this is just way easier. All right, so as of right now, this query has one join, but you can actually you can put a bunch of joins if you want. So we're going to find something else to, okay, so every product, we're getting the category name, but we also, we have the same situation with the brand. So there's a brands table, and each brand is going to have an ID and a name in that table. I'm going to grab that real quick from production.brands. All right, so we're going to look at this table. And yeah, so it's 9 different brands, and each brand has a brand name. And so we're going to order by brand ID on the products table. And we can see that okay, this is interesting. do we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Okay, yes. So we do have every brand in this table. So to add on another join, we're just going to move down another line, and we're going to say enter join again. And this time we're joining production.brands. And I want to give this an alias, just like the other tables. I'm going to call it B on. And we're looking at production.products P, which is this table. And so it's going to be p.brandid equals B, the brands table, B dot brand ID. And I guess it would help if we were actually retrieving the data that we're looking for here. So on the products table, we have brand ID and category ID. So basically now with both of these joins, we're just getting the brand name and category name. So I'm also going to want to get brand name. And hopefully this works. All right. So we've got every product, and they all have a category name and a brand name.